What's up, everybody? Welcome to Playground Sessions YouTube channel. I'm Phil, and we've got a really special live lesson plan for you today. For those who don't know, we have special guest Sheléa in the building of Quincy Jones Productions. She's the composer and the singer and everything for the song Grace that we've been learning over the last week or so. And this has been super fun. We actually have Sheléa live with us. So if you haven't written your questions or your comments for Sheléa in the chat, make sure you do that now. Welcome to the Shea Babes. I was just told that Sheléa's fans have their own name. We're very excited to have you guys joining us. After the Sheléa interview, if you'd like to stick around, I'm going to give you guys a preview of every difficulty level for this song that we've got in the app. We've got rookie level chorus to Grace. Well, actually, we have the whole song, but today we're just going to be taking a peek at the chorus. We've got the intermediate and we've got the advanced. For my Playground Session students that are watching, let us know in the chat what level you're working on, and let Sheléa know how you're feeling about the song. You guys, let's jump right into it. I want to bring in Sheléa. Sheléa, are you there? Can you hear me?
All right, Phil, I can hear you.
Welcome to the Playground Sessions channel. It's such a blessing to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, the blessing is mine. The honor is mine. Your name is Phil, so I already like you. That's the name of that's my husband's name. So there's an immediate connection already. I am
There's a
so
synergy.
glad.
We're already on a wavelength. We'll tell your Phil I said hey from one Phil to another.
I will.
We have been digging in deep to your song Grace. We have been breaking it down in all levels and playing underneath your beautiful voice, and that has also been a blessing. So thank you for your contributions there. And I want to ask you about Grace today, and I also want to ask you specifically about some of your piano experience. We're all pianists, even if we're aspiring pianists here in the chat. We're pianists because we're clocking in and we're working on this song. We're now trying to be better accompanists for you and for maybe some of ourselves at home who want to also learn how to sing this song. And so we're excited. I also want to give our viewers the opportunity to ask you some questions as well. So again, everyone, put them in the chat. Sheléa can see the chat, and I'm also going to be floating some questions up to her as well. So the first question I want to ask you, you just got back from tour, right?
I did. I honestly, it was a tour that I really didn't think was going to happen. I mean, the time that we live in, I remember this time last year, and I had just finished a Florida run tour that actually ended in New York at Blue Note, New York. But it was this weird full circle to be at exactly the same time in 2021 and to be going back to the same performing arts. It really was a blessing. It was surreal. And Florida once again, opened their arms to me, and I was able to do Grace on every show.
Yes.
So that's the difference. That was the difference from 2020 to 2021. I was able to do my own original song, which meant a lot.
Yeah, speaking of change of plans from last year, right? How has that been for you as someone who was touring and trying to connect with more and more fans, I'm sure? How have you gotten through this year, and how have you still been able to connect with your fans, the Shea Babes?
Wow, one day at a time, and I tell my Shea Babes as well as myself to give myself grace. That's
Yeah.
really where this song came out of. It was written during a pandemic. It was my very first Zoom writing session. I had never written. I'm always used to just that energy in the same room and us just bouncing ideas. So I really had no idea what to expect. But it was a beautiful thing, and I think that's what this season has taught me, and I think so many others, is that you just have to make do. And then sometimes that making do, you kind of stumble on some pretty incredible magic, and so I feel like this song is definitely a product of this pandemic. I feel like there's so many things that so many strengths that I kind of have now happened because I had to. I didn't have a choice. I had to get my little mixer together and start doing virtual shows and get my little lighting and my mics, and all that was born out of having to make do. But in the meantime, also giving myself that grace to mess up, to make mistakes, to not always be on 10. You know, sometimes I wake up and I'm just so excited and I'm just ready to go and be creative and you know, just really do incredible things with my time and my day. And then there were other times during the pandemic that, you know, I would just be in bed, you know, for a while. And you know, I kind of I'm embracing both of those experiences and realizing that, you know, I'm still moving forward. And again, I can't stress just that buzzword of grace enough, because I think that we really need to give it to ourselves, especially now.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, it's really admirable you were able to stay productive and creative through that time and still share your gift with everybody. Now, on the road, obviously things are limited still, but you were able to, I've seen some of your videos on your channel, playing to big crowds, and it's super exciting. Do you have a story from the road that you think was kind of worth sharing with the group?
Oh my goodness, there were so many. So we did, we started off in West Palm Beach. We went from there to Sanibel, then Orlando, and then we finished it in Fort Lauderdale. So it was all just so fun. I think it was like just the fact that I wasn't talking to myself like I had become so used to in my virtual shows, like cracking jokes and people actually laughing and not having to like imagine laughter. I mean,
Yeah.
it can be funny and awkward at the same time. But so that was just so amazing to be able to sing to crowds again, you know, just to feel their energy again. Fort Lauderdale was an adventure. This was the first time that I had ever experienced rain during it was outside, and so I had never experienced, you know, any type of, you know, rain during a show. So I didn't really know what to do. You know, I was going to try to do the whole Diana Ross thing and sing through the rain, you know, with my and so at first it was like no one really knew what to do. It was at first it was kind of like just kind of dropless, and then it just started pouring, and the audience literally just fled. So,
Oh, come back.
I was like, oh my God, what's happening? What's happening? So I guess they're used to it. They're used to it there. And so they were literally watching the rain, you know, on the you know, the meteorologist kind of graph or whatever. And he said it's going to pass in 15 minutes. So 15 minutes, I came back out, took the shoes off, had the hair back, and, you know, finished out a really, really fun, incredible show. And I just had a ball.
Once again, you got to roll with it, right?
Gotta roll with it. Gotta roll.
So I love that this song Grace was actually born in the pandemic. I didn't even realize that it was written during that time. I know a lot of our playgrounders and maybe some Shea babes as well would love to hear a little bit more about how the song came to life with regards to your composition process. Now, sometimes in these live lessons, we'll cover different topics, and one of the ones I think was one of the most popular, especially during the pandemic, was how to compose a song. And we composed a song together in our group. We weren't composing for a singer, we were composing for solo piano. I think our people here in the chat would love to hear about some of the things that you think about when you're composing, and maybe even specifically at the piano or for the piano.
That's such a good question. I mean, I wrote this song with two really, really talented songwriters, Steph Fink and Jason Gleed. And I remember all of us, you know, we were kind of at our keyboard, you know. So I remember, you know, we were all trying to figure out just the progression and, you know, just where it was going to go. I know that they really wanted this song to kind of come not only from my heart, lyric-wise and concept-wise, but they really wanted me to be at the core of it musically. So that's actually me playing on the original.
Awesome.
And so yeah, it just kind of poured out of me. The concept kind of came from me looking around, and there was so much happening, in our world at that time, and I just was seeing how we were treating each other online, the way we were talking to each other. Again, how I was feeling about just kind of giving sometimes you can be very hard on yourself. And I always say, show me someone, my Shea babes know I say this a lot, is, show me someone who is critical of others, and most likely that person is extremely critical of themselves. And so I wanted to just write a song that would just remind us that the same way that someone else needs grace, we need that same grace. The same way we need grace, someone else needs grace. And it's that kind of circular, grace that the more we give to ourselves, the more we can give to someone else. And so when I think about those chords, it's very, it's got a little, it's a soulful kind of, chords that kind of go with it, those, that make you feel just kind of like those warm fuzzies. And that's what I wanted the lyric to kind of coincide with, was to go with that musicality that just kind of made it feel familiar. I've had people say, oh my goodness, I love this song. It feels so familiar. It feels like when I hear it, I can just sing it almost right away. And so that is something that I definitely wanted to bring into creating this song. Yeah.
Definitely a soulful progression, definitely uplifting for my playgrounders watching. C major to E7, to that A minor, nice and kind of bittersweet, but then getting to that F major, a nice balance between the minor and major there. And then later on, I don't think we've gotten to it yet, but it's coming up in our lesson plan, when we get to that fourth chorus into the key change. So uplifting there to bring it up that half step. What was the decision there? Was that you were, I assume, trying to get everyone on that uplifted, that feeling, right?
Absolutely, but that's the payoff. But it starts, the buildup is at the bridge.
Yeah.
And I really love this part. If there's one thing that's true, because that's kind of unexpected to go to that. I mean, it's me and you. And now it's the payoff.
So good. And right there is when you take it up the octave with your vocal melody too, and just really give it to us. That's such a beautiful part. Oh, I love hearing about it. So, for playgrounders or for Shea babes, let's maybe take a moment to get into the chat and see if we can pull some questions or some comments. And Sheléa, feel free to scroll yourself and see. I've been seeing it's active here. So I'm going to start with one as you maybe look through here.
Okay.
I want to make sure that we get some time for our viewers here. So let's see here. Oh, here's a question from Robert Simonoff. Asks, what keyboard do you use?
I am using right now the Decibel keyboard, which I absolutely love. They are created in and made in Italy, and Antonio and the whole Proel and Decibel family. They always make sure I have these keyboards wherever I perform. And so yes, this is the Decibel Vivo S7.
Love it. I haven't played one, but yeah, it sounds beautiful.
Yeah, it's got some great sounds too. Let me see. Here's a little.
Oh yeah, the nice E piano there.
Yeah. I think it has like a little. Is there a whirly? Yeah. So.
Awesome. Yeah, so Sheléa mentioned, you guys, that she's the one playing piano on the recording. For those who don't know, the advanced level that we are breaking down in our app is a literal transcription from the recording. So it's what Sheléa was playing. And man, when you dig in, you guys are going to see just how impressive that is. There's a lot going on. She's super talented, I'll be the first to say.
Thank you so much. Wow.
I got a question from Robert Atkins. asking about name one of the struggles that you had in your journey learning the piano or becoming a musician. What kind of a hurdle or a struggle might you have faced?
I have to say, I don't think there has ever been a hurdle or a struggle. As long as I remember this little this little uh, brown wooden piano that I had at age 3, age 4. All some of my earliest memories of just me singing and playing at the piano. I became the church musician for my little church in Bakersfield, California, at age 12. Um, so since I was the musician, I kind of had to play for myself. So I remember when I went away to college, Oakland University, and they would call me the girl who sang and played at the same time. And I didn't know that that was even a big deal or anything, because it was almost out of necessity that I did it. What I will say, and I will be the first to say this, and I promise I'm not feigning humility, but I really don't consider myself to be well, I shouldn't say that, especially with your intro today, but when you're surrounded with friends, like when Corey Henry is a good friend of yours,
Yeah.
it's like I accompany myself. I do feel like I've been kind of pushing myself a little bit more. I actually spent 2 months in Dubai. Quincy Jones opened a jazz club in Dubai, and I was the first vocalist there to be the entertainment there. And so I lived there for 2 months, and it was a grind. It would be from 9 to 10, then 10:30 to 11:30. This is all PM, and then 12 to 1. So in the beginning, I was singing all 3 hours, singing and playing. I had a band and everything. And finally I said, you know what? I'm going to turn that first hour into an instrumental.
There you go.
So I started doing, classics and, just jazz classics. And I said, listen, you're going to hear this piano today, on tonight. So I feel like I didn't completely take advantage of the time when I was younger, to just kind of practice a little bit more. Yes, I absolutely get by, and I will say this. I love what you said in the beginning, learning to be an accompanist, because sometimes you can have people who are the greatest musicians in the world, but they are not great accompanists. There really is a difference. And I think I accompany well because I sing. And so since I'm used to, providing that support for my own voice, I'm able to many times do that for other singers. And, in the past, I used to play at churches, they would always want me to play for them, during a solo, because they would always feel very, very supported. So I can't necessarily say there was a hurdle, but I will say that I don't think, I'll put it like this. I should be a lot better than I am, but again, I'm giving myself some grace.
There you go. You got to forgive yourself here.
I got to forgive myself, and it's never too late to kind of get in there and start shedding and getting in there and really getting those chops up. And so I feel in some ways they have gone up, in some ways, based on just my environment and what my jobs were. When I was, again, the MD for churches, that actually, you shed a lot. You don't even realize, because you're constantly playing. You're constantly playing in between offering and special music and all of that. So there were certain things that I got stronger on. But yeah, I hope that somewhat answers that question.
Totally. And you're totally right about being an accompanist. My students here in the chat and who are learning your song in the app will hear me say all the time that you've got to be listening the entire time and supporting whatever the vocal instrument is here. In this case, it's you. And sometimes when there's a gap, you can come out a little bit more, but you got to bring it back and make sure the melody is always shining. And it sounds like in that church environment, you're constantly doing that. It's a group play, and you're supporting most of the time what's happening in the front.
Absolutely.
It's great practice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned Quincy and his club in Dubai. I know you know you're a Quincy Jones Productions artist, and we would love to hear how you met Quincy, how that came to be. Maybe if you had a great story about Quincy or with Quincy. You know, we've got a lot of passionate Quincy fans here over at Playground Sessions. So how did that all come about?
Who isn't passionate about Quincy Jones?
Right.
I mean, what a just not only incredible musician and composer and producer. I mean, he's just an incredible human being. I don't know if you guys out there, if you've watched his Netflix special, just called Quincy. I mean, it's impossible to finish that and not be so inspired to just do more and to be more, and that the sky is the limit, and that you just keep on keeping on,
That's
as he
right.
says. So I'm trying to remember the very first time we met. I think it was actually I don't really tell this story often, but if I'm being accurate, I do believe the first time was at Stevie Wonder's birthday, one of his birthdays, and I don't remember which one, but I do remember having this kind of crazy, kind of out of body experience when I looked to my right and it was Stevie Wonder. I looked to my left and it was Quincy Jones. I said, "Am I really in between Quincy Jones and Stevie Wonder right now? Like, is this really my life right
Oh man, I can't
now?"
imagine.
But he hadn't heard me sing or anything. I just remember that's when we met.
Okay.
And then I don't know if it was later that year, I did this tribute to Alan and Marilyn Bergman for the Jazz Awards, the ASCAP Jazz Awards. And no, I'm sorry, no, the Los Angeles Jazz Society. They were honoring the Bergmans, and so I sang for that. And and so that was when I feel like that's the one I count as when I first really met him, because he had heard me sing, and I remember a lot of people told me that when I was singing, he stood up and peeked around the curtain like, okay, who is that? Who is that singing? And then what's so crazy is later that week, I think that was like a Monday or Tuesday, that Thursday or Friday, I can't remember. I just remember it was a couple days later, I went to his home for the first time. And I have to give a special shout out to Ricky Minor, who's been such an angel in my life. He invited me to do this event that he was hosting at Quincy Jones' house. And I sang A Change Is Gonna Come. And then I also sang Sometimes I Feel Like a Motherless Child. I actually have a really cool arrangement of Sometimes I Feel Like a Motherless Child. So I did that on piano. And I just never forget. I remember I opened my eyes and this is a home, and they were giving me a standing ovation, and Quincy was standing, and I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. And so that night, his team asked me if I would, be the first vocalist over in Dubai. That's where our journey together started, and he kept bringing me in on things, and one day he just looked at me and said, let's make this thing official. And so he signed me as one of his artists, and the rest is history. I did my first PBS special on my own. I've done many PBS specials, but the first one where it was just only featuring me, he not only lent his support in more ways than one, but also gave me his support in his name. And it was the name of the special was called Quincy Jones Presents Sheléa. And that has literally changed the game for me, because just the touring, that's how I had this really incredible tour. Was based on that PBS special that aired in 80% of the country. So
Wow, is that something that we can still?
Yeah.
That's something that we can still? Is that out still that we can watch? That PBS special?
It airs in like different regions. I don't know if I'm not sure if it's available on the PBS website yet.
Okay.
I think they're still kind of holding on to it because it still gets played quite a bit. But I think the DVD, if people still watch DVDs, I know the DVD is still is available for purchase.
Awesome, awesome. So let's take a moment to get back into the chat. I don't want to leave anybody hanging.
Okay,
And
okay.
maybe if you want to take a moment and scroll and see if you want to shout out some
Oh,
names, some Shea
okay, here we
babes.
go. I'm seeing my mom. My mom's in the comments. I couldn't.
Hey!
She said I couldn't get her to practice.
Ah!
I know, I know, I know. It's funny because I have a sister as well who's extremely gifted. She plays a flute and sings, and we were taking piano lessons obviously at the same time, and so she she blames my parents to this day that they didn't make her continue because it just got to a point where it's like, okay, listen, we don't have money for you guys to just be wasting these piano lessons if you're not going to practice. And so, when they told me that, I kind of tightened up a little bit. I tightened up and I said, okay, I'm practicing because it was a deep love for me. And for her, she just said, okay, she had other interests. And so, there was that era that my mom was talking about that she was trying to get me to practice. Okay, let's see. Let's is it Maria? I hope it is Stepanenko.
It is Maria.
Okay, I love how you spell it. That's so unique. Any artists, musicians who inspired you when you were starting out? Wow. Where do I start? um, as some of you know, I really listen to predominantly gospel music, but also classical. I was playing. So classical and gospel was a big was a big part of my upbringing and my development. So I was listening to artists like the Wine, a lot of people from Detroit. So the Winans, Commission, Vanessa Bell Armstrong, Yolanda Adams, Vicki Winans, Vivian CC Winans, Tremaine Hawkins, the Hawkins family. There's so many I was listening to. But it's funny, there's this little segment that I do in my live shows, and I talk about just women who inspired me. And I think I was even though I kind of had to play catch up a little bit later, I was drawn to women who sang and played piano, obviously. So people like Carole King and Roberta Flack and Aretha Franklin, who sang and played. Also Twinkie Clark, who was such a genius, is a genius, from the Clark sisters. So those are all people. I could just keep going on down the list, but my number one American Idol was my mother, who
Ah.
has an amazing voice, and she also plays piano as well. She's gotta start practicing as well, Sheila. You need to practice as well. But yeah, and she's picking up guitar too. But yeah, my mom has a beautiful voice. She could have made it. She could have made it. She just had different interests, and I think growing up, my folk, I saw them serving in church, and that was the extent of their musicality. My dad is a great songwriter, self-taught piano player, but they just served in church, and I thought I would do the same. To be honest, it wasn't until I went away to college and I joined this girl group, and I just got a taste of like going to the studio and writing and producing, and I got the bug. I said, oh no, this is it. This is it.
Absolutely. Well, you got it. And once again, thank you for sharing it with us here at Playground Sessions. I want to maybe see if you have time, if you wouldn't mind maybe giving us a little live rendition of Grace. I know a lot of the Playground students have been spending a lot of time with it over the last week or so, and I've been seeing so many comments about how beautiful your voice is. No pressure, but if you're open to giving us a taste, maybe up through the first chorus or something, we would really love to listen and to watch.
Okay. Well, let me start off because you said you hadn't done the bridge yet. So I'll start. Um, I'll do the second chorus going into the bridge, and then that part that everybody likes.
Good
That has
idea. Good idea.
okay. Can I get a little grace? Can I get a little empathy? Can we come back to the light and leave darkness behind? I just need a little hope. I'm not asking for your sympathy. You can't wait for things to change and still be the same. I just need a little grace. I just need a little grace. Can I get a little grace? Some grace. We've got to find a better way and start living out the words we say. If there's one thing that's true, in the end it's me and you. Yeah, 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 yeah. Can I get a little grace? Can I get a little empathy? Can we come back to the light and leave darkness behind? I just need a little hope. I'm not asking for your sympathy. You can't wait for things to change and still be the same. I just need a little grace. That's a little bit of that.
Woo! Oh, got chills over here. I was trying to sing you with, I was trying to get the backup vocals for you, but there's a delay. I didn't want to throw you off. Grace! Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you. Now, maybe we've got time for just a quick one last shout out, maybe a question here, and then we'll let you go. I know you probably got a lot on your plate, but just a quick reminder, anybody that wants to dig into this music a little bit more, right after Sheléa checks out of the interview here, we're going to take a look at some of the notation for the rookie level, the intermediate level, and the advanced level to round out today's live lesson. So yeah, stick around for that.
I love it. I love it. Did you see any questions in there?
Oh yeah. Well, first of all, David Sides from Playground Sessions says, "Hey, David's a fan." I see a lot of questions about Quincy. Seeing a lot of people just saying beautiful voice and saying, "Hey." Yeah, lovely song, Sheléa. Hello from Dubai, actually. Isabella Grassa. Yeah, hello from Dubai.
Wow.
A lot of heart emojis. Those must be the Shea Babes, right?
Those the Shea Babes.
Shout out to the Shea Babes.
Yes, and shout out to my Shea Babes yellow hearts. Yes, Shea Babes forever. Let me see. Oh, this is a great question from Lily Mae Music. She said, Sheléa, how does it make you feel when you see someone covering your song? I love that question. I don't think anyone has ever asked me that. It is literally an out-of-body experience. It does something so different to my heart. You know, when I hear myself singing, it's like I know exactly where I was when I was singing it, and yes, it's very rewarding when I hear it playing somewhere. But when I hear someone else's interpretation, they're putting their story into it. They're putting their heart and all their experiences and everything that you know represents who they are in that vocal performance, or even what they put into a instrumental performance. It's probably, I have to say, I think I get more excited when I hear other people sing it even more than when I hear myself sing it. And I absolutely love singing this song. When I was singing it on tour, I was like, oh, I'm going to be able to sing this for years and years because I enjoy it. There's certain songs singers out there, you'll know what I'm talking about. There's some songs you enjoy singing more than others. Even if it's like a song that people really like you to sing, you're kind of like, okay, it's okay. Like I can see myself getting tired. I don't think I'll get tired of Grace because it just has that kind of, I don't know. It's something about it that I feel like I can sing over and over again. But even with all that said, when I hear someone else sing some, Grace or any of the songs I've written, Love Fell on Me or I'm Sure It's You, it does something else. to my heart, you know, because I'm able to see all just those lyrics where I was when I wrote those lyrics, and to now see it from someone else's lens, and it's just the most beautiful experience for me.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds really incredible. Thank you, Lily Mae, for the question. She's one of our longtime playgrounders as well. You guys, everybody watching, thank you so much for tuning in. I want to give Sheléa one more thank you personally and from the whole Playground Sessions team. We're so happy to be working with you and to be learning how to accompany underneath your beautiful voice. So thank you one more time.
Well, Phil, thank you so much for having me. To the whole Playground Sessions family, you are my family now, and you know, thank you for just creating opportunities for people to learn music, you know, at their own level, at their own pace. You made a couple of people really, really happy with the giveaways. You know, the keyboard and the lifetime, you know, access to Playground Sessions. So just thank you for all that you're doing, because I think that we've all recognized more than ever how, more than ever now, especially with the times we're living in, just how much music is so important to healing and to staying sane. And so thank you for all that you guys are doing to keep us all sane through music.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Sheléa. We'll see you next time.
Okay, take care. Mwah. Bye, my Shay babes and everybody.
There's something on my mind, but I'm scared to share it, 'cause you can't hit rewind. If I don't get it right every time, would you hold it against me or leave me behind? I'm just trying to make it through the day, and I'm searching for the words to say. Can I get a little grace? Can I get a little empathy? Can we come back to the light and leave darkness behind? I just need a little hope. I'm not asking for your sympathy. You can't wait for things to change and still be the same. I just need a little grace. I just need a little grace. Can I get a little grace? Some grace.
All right, guys, so that was super fun. Thank you all for being active in the chat and for supporting what we're doing here. Thanks to everyone who has already started the Grace course that we've got in our Playground Sessions interactive app. I'm going to actually have Andrew, our moderator for today, post a link to a free trial that we're offering here just to YouTube viewers. And for anyone who wants to check out the app, I highly encourage you to do it. It's 30 days, all access, no strings attached. And part of that access will get you the Sheléa Grace course, okay? Every day we're breaking down a different part of the song, and by the end we're going to be able to play the whole song. We've also got it in 3 different difficulty levels. What we're looking at now on screen are the first 8 bars of chorus number 1. This is the part where Sheléa first comes in with, let's see, can I get a little grace, right? This is that part. So what we're looking at here, and maybe Aiden, if I can get you to zoom in just a bit so I can see, there we go. So what we're looking at here is the advanced level, and remember, the melody is not going to be present in any of these levels' piano parts, and that's because Sheléa is singing this melody. So as accompanists, we need to be able to take our harmony and our rhythm, spread it across both hands, but also not get in the way of the melody, all right? So remember, the advanced level is a transcription or a literal copy and paste of what Sheléa does on the recording. And so here's what we have for the first 8 bars of the chorus here. It's not interactive on screen yet, but remember, the Playground Sessions app is interactive. It grades you as you play. When the notes turn green, you've gotten them right. When they turn red, you got a little more practice to do. So as you can see, we've got harmony spread across both hands. We've got pretty active rhythms going on here. The progression is a beautiful one. I'm going to simplify it for a second. We've got C major to an E7 to an A minor down to an F. That's the progression we see in the verse as well. So you students out there, if you're still working on the verse, have no fear. When you get to the chorus, you're going to see that same progression repeat, although you will see different rhythms and voicing. But this is what's happening in the advanced level. Let me know in the chat how many of you are working on the advanced level, and if you've got any questions for me about it. Now's your chance to ask me something here about it, or let me know if there's a particular part that's giving you trouble. But yeah, this is it. And by the way, in the app, you're going to hear Sheléa's real voice as well singing, even when we slow things down to a more practiced tempo, a learning tempo. You're still going to hear her voice singing, as well as the band and the production elements behind. So that's what we've got for the advanced level. You're going to see, as we go into chorus 2 and chorus 3 and beyond, that even though the progression stays the same, we're going to be adding more energy, which means really two things. We're going to be adding more range. That kind of thing. We're also going to be adding more rhythm. We're going to see some stuff like this. Da, da, da. Some eighths, some dotted eighths, some 16th notes, and some syncopations as well. So this is a super, super cool arrangement here. This is, again, the transcription from Sheléa. Now, if this is too difficult for you guys, or if it seems a bit intimidating, what I want to do now is showcase the same section that we're looking at here, chorus 1, but we're going to look at the intermediate level arrangement now, and I'm going to tell you how we've simplified. What we're doing here is we're still doing two-hand harmony. Now, in this particular section, we've got just roots in the left hand, and we've got triads in the right hand. Those are 3-note chords. And what you're going to hear when you hear this, when I play it, is the same exact progression we just went through, but obviously the rhythms are a bit simplified. We're playing block chords here. And so this is meant to be a more accessible arrangement for those of you who can play chords in your right hand, for those who have don't have too much difficulty playing with the hands together with more than just one note in each hand. This one's for you. It's meant to be accessible, and it goes like this. Here's the vocal melody here. How am I going to sing after Sheléa just sang? Bear with me, guys. But this is it. We've got whole notes. We've got plenty of time to think ahead. Even here with the half notes, we're not moving too much between the hands. Right? We're not jumping up, moving our hand positions. That's something you're going to find in our intermediate level arrangements. We use chord inversions as a way to minimize hand motion. Now again, in the further down the road choruses in the advanced level, you're going to see all sorts of jumps. Right? But for now, at the intermediate level, inversions can be our best friend. Inversions allow us to play sometimes a whole chord progression without really needing to move our hand position in a drastic way like this, okay? So there we have it. That's the intermediate level arrangement of the chorus. And I just want to check in real quick on the chat and make sure that I'm not missing questions from you guys. Blessin looks like Blessin's doing rookie. Seems a little too easy, so you'll try intermediate later as well. That's a great point. You guys can feel free to jump around. You don't just pick one level and you're stuck in that level. If you're a Playground Sessions member, and that includes anyone taking advantage of a free trial, then you have all 3 levels available to you at any time. I know some people are doing intermediate and advanced at the same time. You're welcome to do whatever you like. That's a great point. Joe Pan says, Joe Pan, that's funny. It almost sounds like Chopin. Joe says, started advanced and almost done, but finding it a little too difficult, so went back to intermediate and got through those lessons with a breeze. I love that. Again, you know, it's not a one-size-fits-all, and you're welcome to explore different paths here. Penelope Court says, I found the first measures of the advanced the most difficult. Yeah, the first measures are really where we have a bit of a piano melody. We don't have that on screen here, but you're looking at something like this. and then we settle in to more of an accompaniment role, right? And the reason that we do that is because Sheléa, as the vocalist, as the melodic instrument, is not singing in the intro yet. So it's up to the piano to set the mood, to set the tone. And really, we can be in a little bit more of a spotlight than we are going to be when the verse starts or when the chorus hits, because Sheléa is the front and center portion at that time. So yeah, that can be tricky. The tips that I would give you are to slow it down and not worry too much about the swing feel just yet. Wait till you get the hand positions down and the notes more or less memorized before you start thinking about, right, that swing rhythm. You can play it like this in the beginning, if that helps you. But I would remind you that anything you practice a lot is going to become muscle memory. So keep that in mind if you do want to get to that swing feel, that you don't practice it too much straight. But yeah, I think this might sound like an answer I give all the time, but it's still true here. I would slow things down, especially in the beginning. Barney Power's in the house. Barney's doing intermediate and loving it. I love to hear that. I Love Books to Read says, will you also have the entire music, including melody, in the song store? That's actually a good question. Oh, actually, it looks like Andrew just answered that. He's on it, you guys. All right, so even if this intermediate level arrangement is feeling too tough for you, if you're a first time, if you're a beginner, or if you're a Shea babe and you haven't even started playing the piano yet, but maybe you're interested, that's all right. We've got something for you too. So let's take a peek at the rookie level first 8 bars of this chorus. Now, one thing that we use to define our rookie level arrangements for the most part is we have single notes in each hand. All right, so what we see here typically might look like a melody because it's a single note, but when we put hands together, we're playing 2-note harmonies. So yes, as advanced as the recording is on the piano, we can still access it here with this bare bones rookie level version, and it looks like this. Here's my melody. Can I get a little taste? Even just that right there, right hand moving from G up a half step to the black key above, G sharp. That really gives you a sense of the harmonic motion. I really love that. So that's it. And for those of you who are in front of your keyboards, feel free to join me here. 2, 3, can I get a little empathy? 3, 4, right to light. Dun, dun, dun. Now we're going to repeat that progression, moving on. Notice my hands are not jumping around at all. I'm in one position. Here we're going to move a little faster. That's all there is to it, you guys. And it's so fun to play in the app, in part because we still have Sheléa's voice and the full production elements behind it. It's just like playing along with the recording, but the notation is synced up with the recording. And even when we slow things down to a slower tempo, you're still going to have that full recording and Sheléa's voice behind you. So just as a recap here, you guys, whether we're doing single note arrangements here in both hands, or if we take it up a notch to intermediate, where we've got some harmony, full triads in the right hand, and a lower left hand part that's going to act more like a bass part. Now also, guys, I would encourage you to try going off the page sometimes too, or off the screen in this case. If you like how this arrangement lays, but you want to just add a little bit more rhythm, you can totally do that too. Right? Find your own way here, and if you have questions about how to do that, remember we go live here on the channel regularly, and I'm putting out a ton of lessons on all levels of this thing. Now, when we kick it up to advanced, we're now seeing hand position changes. We're seeing syncopated rhythms between the hands, and that's looking like this. All right, I'm going to go to the chat one more time, you guys, and then I think we're going to call it a day. I really had fun today with Sheléa. I hope you guys will go follow her, subscribe to her and check out. I mean, she posts a lot of great stuff on her channels. Sometimes she's singing and hanging out. Other times it's a clip from a video or from something else she's working on. So definitely become a Shea Babe if you are not already a Shea Babe. I'm a Shea Babe now. What up, David? Yep, coming to the source soon. Love it. Awesome, awesome. Oh, Joe Pan says, FYI, I just found the lyrics for Grace in tabs. There you go, for you guitar players out there. I Love Books to Read has a question. Is it better to play the chords with the right hand when accompanying a singer rather than the left hand? You know, that is a great question. And I would say that there's not necessarily a hard and fast rule about that. What I would remind you guys is we need to be listening to the melody. Now, if Sheléa's vocal range is right around here, we can play chords down here, and that's exactly what we see in the verses. But what hand plays it is kind of subjective. If we've got a male singer whose voice is maybe down here, I might spread it out a bit more and do something like this. Right? If we're talking about a really basic stripped down part, maybe we just want to play one hand. Maybe when we get to the pre-chorus. That's okay. That can be left hand or right hand. So my point is, it's not so much about the hands rolls, and it's more about the range and making sure that we're not stepping on our vocal melody toes, right? We don't want to get in the way of Sheléa rhythmically or range-wise. So keep that in mind. Great question. Hey, Chris Carlson. Thanks so much. I'm a rookie, and I'm loving every minute that I spend on Playground. Thank you so much, Chris. Phil and David, you're excellent teachers. That means a lot, Chris. Thank you so much for joining. Well, guys, this was super fun. I hope to see you guys soon. Tomorrow, that is, for the next Sheléa lesson that we're dropping every day, by the way, for those who are not Playgrounders yet. Any of you Shea Babes who want to come check it out, remember there's a free trial going on, and you can jump right into the Grace Challenge. Tomorrow, I believe, is day, I want to say maybe 11? Yeah, check in our thread there. But yes. Yeah, tomorrow's day 11, you guys. We're already in the double digits, which is crazy. So for those who are new to the app, make sure you check it out. Jump in anytime. For those who are already in the Grace course, I will see you guys for lesson number 11 tomorrow. This was super fun, and I'll see you guys next week for another live lesson. Peace.